So this is session 1 of Predation. This is one of the several Cypher System settings. Too many S's there. This is a cyberpunk dinosaur time lost setting, which I'm going to talk about in a second. This is part of my month trying out Cypher System across the board and getting used to this. This is part of Gauntlet Hangouts, which is an online community associated with the Gauntlet podcast and the Gauntlet family of podcasts, including Plus One Forward, Fear of a Black Dragon, yada, yada, yada. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com if you're so inclined. I'm going to set up the game, kind of talk about what we're doing. We're playing through using the Google Hangouts, and then we're also using some Google spreadsheets for handling characters and such, and we've got an online die roller. So you may hear us referring to that. So this is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, and we do use some basic safety tools. I think everybody here is a veteran of the Gauntlet and play, so you're all familiar with the X card? Oh,
I do. No. I do know about the X card.
Okay, I'm sorry, Michael. I just assumed. So you're familiar with the X card? In our online play, we do it with the hands, arms crossed, or a message in the chat. I may ask at what point you need me to edit past just to get that set. The X card can be used for subject matter. It can be used for tone. It can be used for language. It gets used from time to time. I've called it on Rich a couple of times, actually. So you can call on that, and I'll try and be aware of that. If somebody sees that that's happening and I haven't spotted it, somebody give me the high sign on that. It is a very basic safety tool. It doesn't involve a lot of reflection and engagement with it. There are other tools that do that better, but this is a good one for the time that we have here. We just have 2.5 hours, got a tight time span, and we're online. So let's talk about Predation. Predation is a game. I'm going to go through the kind of the CATS system of describing this for everyone. So in Predation, first, you are survivors trapped in the dinosaur past. Essentially, time travel is a time traveling community, and you're trying to survive there with a mix of primitive and high tech. That's sort of the basic concept. What are we actually doing when we're playing? Basically, the framework for this is that the team is part of an organization. We'll talk about what that organization's goals are when we get into the setting a little bit more. We are exploring the world. Part of really what I want to do is have a chance for everybody to kind of see what Predation is like. Since we've got just 3 sessions, I've kind of tried to distill that down. So we'll play that out. Overcome action challenges, that kind of thing. The tone is dangerous, but I still consider the PCs heroic. This is not, this is sort of apocalyptic, but it's not apocalypse world apocalyptic. It is a challenge to survival. There's some grim stuff in this, some real dangers. The dinosaurs of various kinds around that have preyed on these communities of survivors. A lot of them have found ways to make it through that, but there's still a lot of dangers out there. And our PCs are younger people who have no real memory of the future. They were born here in this time period. So they don't know about a lot of things. They don't know what cell phones are. They don't know what dogs are. These are all kind of myths and legends. And at the same time, they have like a bioscanning software and things that they have on hand. So they've got this weird mix. So the big things we'll be hitting are dinosaurs, cyberpunk style tech, decay, action, sort of fallen communities, all of that kind of thing. That's just a real quick rundown, which probably sounded super crazy. Even as I said it, I was going, what the F? So anyway, the basics, in case you haven't had a chance to read through that, I'm going to go through in a little bit. but I want to talk briefly about Cypher System and what you need to know about that. Now, Brian and Steve, I know you've played Cypher because you played with me. Kyle, Michael, have you guys played Cypher System?
I'm very familiar with Cypher System.
Oh, well, great. So if you're very familiar with it, you're going to see me screw it up. I'm just going to tell you that right now because I'm still getting used to it.
My big terror is I'm going to run a table of it at Gen Con this year, and I don't know that I'm ready.
Okay.
Wow.
Hey, I've done 9 sessions of it this month, and I literally read through the rules 2 weeks before we started. So if I can do that, you can do it at Gen Con, believe me. Kyle, what about you? Do you know Cypher at all?
Yeah, I don't know Cypher at all.
Okay.
I actually just found the quick rules just before we started. So I've skimmed that, but that's the extent of it.
We've got a roll for your party. Most of the time, you're only going to be rolling a d20. There's an exception, as there always are in these games, when you roll recovery. The basic thing is you're going to tell me what you want to do. I'm going to set a difficulty. That's going to be a number from 1 to 10, usually towards the 4 or 5 range. And then you're going to figure out ways to get that difficulty down. Skills or abilities, things like that, effort. There are all kinds of tools that you have to reduce that difficulty. When you reduce that difficulty, when we finally get to that final number, let's say you get the difficulty down to 2, we multiply that by 3. So it would be a 6, and you roll a d20 and try to get that number better. So declaration, some negotiation, we set difficulty, and then we see what happens. Rolling particularly low is bad, 1s and 2s. Rolling particularly high is good, 19s and 20s. 17s, 18s, 19s, and 20s if you're in combat will give additional benefits. That's the basics. On your character sheet, you'll see that you have 3 pools. Those are both the things that you spend effort from. They don't actually represent stat numbers. And the delicious part of that's also your hit points. So that's a resource that you will be using up throughout the game. Those are the basics of what you need to know. Just we'll talk through when you take an action. We'll figure out what fits, and we'll go through the play. There's another mechanic. Just to remind everybody about this: GM intrusions. This is like me randomly doing a GM's hard or soft move. I can hit somebody with that, and I can say, I'm going to offer you this intrusion, and I will give them 2 experience points. They get to keep 1, and they get to give the other XP to someone else in the group. If you have an XP on hand, you can always say, no, I don't want you to hose me like this, and you can pay me that XP. So if you have XP on hand, you can stop the intrusion. Otherwise, it's going to happen. Generally, the advice to GMs is to hit everybody once with an intrusion during a session. It's a little bit different because we've got the split up, but I'm going to try and do this at least a couple of times this session because I want to get better about doing that. XP is great because you can get new stuff, but XP can also be spent to reroll. So there will be that delicious draw that maybe I could save up enough to get something cool, or I could actually make this roll this time and not get killed. So that's the big deal. This uses ciphers. It's the last thing I want to talk about mechanically. Ciphers essentially are one-shot powers. All of the Cypher Systems games have that, but they have different fictional justifications depending on the game. And in this game, I'll talk about what they mean in the different settings. They mean different things, but the basics are that you'll be using up those ciphers and you'll be getting more of them. Situations will occur and you'll reset and get more of those ciphers as they occur. All right. Let me then talk about the setting. I'm going to try and get through this within the tight first timeline. 200 years in the future, a company called SATI, S-A-T-I, found a way to do time travel back to essentially the Creatorus period. I think I'm saying that right. By the way, I just want to say before we go on, I don't know dinosaurs. This is not one of my hobby things. My nephew, growing up, was creative with me because I didn't know all the names. But I will try and go to the bestiary that we have in the book and so on. In any case, they sent back a large community, a whole settlement back into this period. Like 20,000 people over time, building different cities and setting things up. And that community grew, carried out this mysterious project. No one was exactly sure what SATI was going for. After just short of 40 years of the settlements growing and existing throughout this area, there was an event, and all of the time travel devices exploded. We call it the Great Howling. They also refer to it as the last commute because it's the last time anybody was able to go back or forth from the future. So now it's 100 years later. They still don't know if time travel can't happen anymore. They still don't know if Sadie is trying to find them. They have no idea what's going on. And in fact, the explosion of those time travel devices has created time anomalies. These are strange fissures that have weird effects. They kind of warp the space around them. But they also are the source of ciphers. Essentially, they carry weird information and powers that can get encoded in your DNA. And that's how you get more ciphers, is going to finding these time anomalies. Sometimes these anomalies drop even better stuff, relics or artifacts, things like that. Our communities have grown up over these generations. A lot of newborns have grown, never seeing the future, and never knowing exactly what this sort of mythical Sati, homeland is like. As a result, what has happened is a lot of the cities have kind of broken up, have sort of independent governments. Sati still kind of controls a lot of areas, but there are other factions that are working against it. And even in Sati itself, there are factions, people battling against one another. And that's the basic deal, is that setup. U4, premise that we're going with is that U4 work for a particular faction of Sati that is looking for particular kinds of information on time travel, essentially investigating time anomalies, trying to discover and maybe find some secrets. And they are probably more publicly minded than other parts of Sati, because in some cities, Sati, they're the elites. They're the high nobility class within the cities, controlling access to power, energy, and so on. But you are more publicly minded. There are other groups that are out there, including the butterflies. The butterflies believe that time travel should be destroyed, that no one should travel through time. They take as their a Bible a Ray Bradbury story called The Sound of Thunder, and that's where they get their name from. And they're kind of a guerrilla underground group. They believe that no one should travel back to the future, and in fact, that what is coming should be allowed to come. And what is coming is the extinction level event for the dinosaurs. It might be a decade off, it might be a century off, but everybody knows that it's coming. And when it hits, everybody's going to die. So that is the threat that is looming over society as a whole. Any questions about that before I kind of move on? We'll probably find some details that will work out in play. Our players all have a main character, and then they also have a companion with their character, a dinosaur companion. And when we kind of go through who everyone is, we'll assign who is going to be playing your companion. I'm going to do it based on the camera layout here for myself. So what I want to do is go through and have each of you describe your character, how you're picturing them, how you're picturing their attitude, maybe what they look like. I'm going to ask you some questions about that. We'll do some talk. We'll talk about your relationship to your dinosaur companion in that. So I want to start. I go to the character sheet. I think I want to start. I think is it Lau? Is that you, Stephen? Right? Double mute.
Double mute. That's right.
Yeah.
So I got it this time.
Okay.
Yeah. Lao sounds right. Lao is an empirical Teryx who walks with dinosaurs, and his companion is Posh, who is a vigilant pterodactylus, a flying reptile. And my specialty is finding dinosaurs and training dinosaurs and figuring out, just knowing the nature of what's going on. I grew up with them. I know a little bit about how they behave and things like that. So one of my best friends whenever I was young was abducted, and I've searched for him thinking that maybe my knowledge of the nature will be able to help me find him.
And what do you imagine that Lau looks like? Male, female? What do you imagine there?
Yeah, Lao is male and is probably looks quite feral. Is used to traveling out in the jungle, in the wilderness, and is also used to, probably has patches of camouflage to a certain extent because he's used to needing to blend in with his surroundings as he observes and approaches dinosaurs.
Are there anything special, any kind of markings or other signs that would be on your companion Posh?
Posh actually has a great gouge along one side of its face, and it doesn't actually cut through the eye, but it's along the edge of, I don't know what you would call that, but the beak area, the head and the beak area. And I think Posh was naturally curious and counted on the fact that it could always fly away too often and got caught at some point.
How big is Posh? Is it a smaller pterodactyl? Is it a larger one? What are you picturing?
I'm picturing something that when walking on the ground is a little bit shorter than human height. So maybe like 4.5 feet or so.
Okay, that
But of
seems fair.
course, that has a huge wingspan. My understanding is that they basically, when they open up, that might be what, an 8-foot or 12-foot wingspan, something like that.
Yeah. So your character Posh, your companion, is going to be essentially the way we're going to do this is going to slide over. So if there's a need for companion action or resolution, Michael, you'll be handling Posh in addition to your character. Okay. And on that note, the next character, Michael, who is your base character?
I'm playing Mar, and Mar is a creative type. She tends to approach problems from unique angles. She's not necessarily your gal in a crisis because she always wants time to think things through. And as far as her dress, she can dress properly for a mission, but in a non-mission situation, she tends towards outlandish outfits.
Like different colors or styles or what?
Yeah, weird colors, weird styles. Her companion is Houdini, the flashy raptor, who I'm modifying the species just a little here. I'm assuming you've seen the original Jurassic Park?
Yep.
So you know that one poison-spitting dinosaur that had the big frill that it could extend to make itself seem much bigger than it was?
Yep.
So Houdini has one of these frills, and Mar traditionally paints it in weird, bright colors so that he can make a spectacle of himself whenever he chooses.
So, do you think so they kind of share this desire to be outlandish and
Oh no,
notice?
she totally imposes him on this, and
okay.
he doesn't care, but this is her. He is naughty. He likes to play pranks.
Awesome. And any besides the frill, any other outstanding details on
Houdini?
Houdini?
He's basically jet black with just a little bit of dark green on him.
Nice. All right, and Houdini is going to be played by Brian. Brian, you will be handling Houdini, okay? Which brings us to your character, Brian. Who are you?
Okay, I'm playing Gibson. Is male. He's a savage Karn who predates. And he's basically like an arena warrior. Up until recently, he was literally fighting in an arena, killing other humans and animals for fun and profit. He's heavily modified to be very animalistic and can use his enhanced strength jaw and sharp teeth to bite. He has very strong nails that act like claws. But the best part is he has this very muscular prehensile tail that he can use to do something as dainty as pick up a coffee cup or to smash somebody in the head. He also has the ability to do kind of an animalistic roar, which is very handy when I'm trying to distract enemies. And his companion is Toby, who is a clumsy Ankylosaurus. It's that kind of dinosaur with the kind of low to the ground, like the Merrimack, with kind of like an armor on the back and a big sort of mace tail at the end there. And the great thing about Toby is that when we are within long range of each other, he increases my ability to be aware of danger, time terrors, sudden occurrences, surprises, traps, that kind of thing.
And this Ankylosaur, Toby, anything about his appearance?
I put a little picture there underneath him on the sheet. He's kind of a there's not a very colorful creature. He blends in pretty well to stony environments pretty easily.
Okay.
Less so in the deep jungle.
And yourself, what do you look like?
I look absolutely insane.
Okay.
Super long hair and sort of a halo around my head, cut into sort of a like a mullet in the back, and modified clothes to fit my prehensile tail. And a lot of times I kind of stink to high heaven because that's how you sneak up on creatures.
That seems good to me. Toby will be controlled by Kyle. So he will handle that. That is on the second tab, which brings us to Kyle. Tell us about your character.
So Kaylee is a guy. He dresses so he's really stealthy, blends into the shadows kind of. He's a volcanic Karn, and it says he moves like a raptor. So, don't know he's there, and then, it's too late, you're dead kind of deal. He's got a big spear that's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm picturing him in like so actually first his dinosaur is a T-Rex named September.
Okay.
So they're both kind of color wise. I'm picturing like black and like red patterns, like kind of striped. So I think that when Kaylee is on top or riding on September, he like blends in, you know, they kind of like match, so that sneaky thing. And yeah, I'm imagining September to be not like a full grown T-Rex, like a middle-ish T-Rex, but still rideable, definitely.
Oh, that makes sense. A full grown is huge. So the sort of half size is still plenty potent. Like you'll see that your character does an additional 3 damage. The T-Rex does, and that's pretty hefty in this game. So that is a ton of damage there. And what do you imagine the relationship is between Kaylee and September? I mean, peers or master pet, or how do you picture that?
I think they're definitely peers.
Okay.
Yeah, it says somewhere on here that he spent a long time searching for a dinosaur, and eventually found September, and they've been inseparable ever since. So I think that they pretty close.
That sounds good. And then Stephen, you're going to handle September.
Sounds good.
Okay. Now it does mean we have eight PCs effectively on here. I will focus on the human side, but if I see the opportunity, I'll try and bring in the companion side. You're also welcome to bring that in. We'll see how that juggles in the course of this, because it's a lot of architecture to keep up with. What I want to do is some quick relationship questions to kind of build some ties between your team, and then I want to set up where you're at. So, Stephen, of the other 3 that are present, in this team that have arisen, who's the one that you actually listen to?
Kaylee.
Okay.
Kaylee seems to have a good rapport with nature, and it's almost instinctual. I don't think that I haven't seen that he studied dinosaurs in the natural world much, but he seems to identify with them, and almost as if he is one.
I like that. There's a cool connection there. Got a good level of respect. Mar, amongst the other 3 that are in your group, which one do you think might actually have some respect for your creative endeavors?
There's a question. I could see Gibson respecting Mar simply because she is so alien that they tend to work well in entirely different arenas.
Oh, nice. Does that work for you, Gibson?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he is very strange. Actually, in the bestiary, I have a picture of the silverbacks, which are some of those enhanced humans who have really taken that up in much in the way that Gibson has. Brian?
Yes.
You used to be, Gibson used to be in these pits, right?
Yeah.
One of these warriors in that. Which of the 3 companions that you have was instrumental in getting you out of there?
Let's see. I think that I think maybe Low. Is that what we're calling Low?
Yep. Low.
I think that is who helped get me out.
And how?
A series of conversations, which is something that I don't normally have with people. I don't really have time. I don't really have the attention span usually to deal with people, but for some reason I was able to talk to this other human and their perception and just constant questioning and looking for the truth got me thinking on a level that I hadn't thought before. And I was like, you know what? There's more than this.
Okay. That helped you make that decision to get out of there. That makes sense.
Yes.
And is that good with you, Lau?
Yes.
Okay. Kaylee, which one of your companions do you kind of want the approval of?
Sorry, did something weird to my computer.
That's okay.
The approval of, I want the approval of, I think it's Lau. I think it's Lau that he wants the approval of.
And why?
Yeah, I think Kaylee really values the connection with dinosaurs, and he's very, the way that Lau, connects with dinosaurs and understands them and knows so much about them. Something Kaylee admires for sure.
That seems great. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set you, kind of hard frame you into a situation. I'm going to give you a mission statement. I'm going to hard frame you into a situation. This is kind of almost a prologue bit to set some things up and a chance to play out some of the mechanics of this session. That's what we're trying out. So I want to give you an idea of that, and I'll ask you for some input when we get into playing here. So you are in a city called Bonehaven, and it lays a ways off from the sort of SADI capital. And it's not directly under SADI control. It's kind of a free city. It is in a relatively safe place. The trade roads crisscross it. And what has happened is that there a set of sort of three powerful people have kind of come together to keep order here and build the city up. And they've scavenged bits and pieces from other places. They've managed to get 3D printers to do some things, but it's not one of the high-tech cities. It has some high-tech things, but it's got a lot more of sort of primitive materials and so on. It's also a city that is now legendary for dinosaur wrestling. Essentially where they have competitions where dinosaurs go and wrestle one another. It's sort of legendary for various games and contests that aren't blood sports, like at the pits of Perrick that Gibson came from. It's also a kind of hive of scum and villainy, where things that get lifted from other places float downstream, as it were, to here. And there is actually a kind of a inner black market for the city that's called the Pavilion. And it's said that if you can get a token to get into the Pavilion, you can find all kinds of things there. And the deal is this. You four have been sent because Bonehaven is having a festival, a series of contests, teams of people competing for the attentions of the three warlords of the city, trying out various contests, feats of strength and other trials. And if your team can get selected, you can go on essentially to a final competition, and the winner essentially gets access to the pavilion. And there is an artifact that was stolen from Sati that they believe is there, that they've given you money to buy if you can get into the pavilion. A thing called a chrono probe. And you know what it looks like. You know that it has a disguised feature. So the people who've taken it probably don't know what they have. It's a very valuable object. So you four have arrived in Bonehaven, in the midst of festival, lots of people there, lots of things going on. Essentially, there are 3 lords of the cities, essentially the person who runs the dino trainers, the person who kind of deals with the assessment of goods and items and trade, and then the other person who is kind of a diplomat, a speaker of things, and we'll get to their names in a bit. The assumption is that you 4 have gotten through these preliminary rounds. So I'm going to ask you about a contest that you participated in, that you won, and how you won it, before we go to sort of this next round of the competition. So, Stephen, what kind of competition in the midst of this festival and all of these noises and so on here, a feat of acumen, a feat of strength, a feat of speed, skill, what did you do and how did you win?
Basically what I did was I played Mumbledy Peg.
Okay.
That's the knife game, right, where you go in between your fingers.
Okay.
And basically we challenged each other to see who went faster and faster and faster, and I came away with the most fingers.
Okay. One of the competitors came out with less fingers than they started with, I assume.
Yes.
All right, that seems good to me, and kind of demonstrated that. Is this something that you had done before, or is this just something you went, okay, well, I can do that?
No. This is something that I practiced. As a kid, I practiced with my knife. Just like growing up, you learn that the tools around you and the tools that you have on you are the most important thing that you can have out in the wild. So it's almost as if the knife is an extension of my hand, and I've practiced all sorts of things with it.
Awesome. I love that, and you've managed to move on. You can help your team to move on to this next round. Mar, what kind of competition did you do, and how did you win? Oh, I have to unmute.
My bad. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So I'm seeing Mod participating in the kind of contest where, in this premise, a lot of people have their companion dinosaurs. So she was designing kind of accessory equipment to give combat enhancements. But the thing is, she didn't really win the contest because of the efficaciousness of the tools. Rather, it was the design. She created a bunch of flashy stuff that looked impressive and was semi-functional.
I like that. Any kind of like primitive materials that use that would be unique?
Well, we're in Bone Spur, so I imagine the design featured a whole lot of carved serrated bone.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, lots and lots of bone around to be used. Okay. Gibson, what about you? What did you do and how did you win?
So this was possibly my greatest challenge in a number of years because it didn't involve killing anybody. But I grew up as a commuter, learning or the stories of the commuters, learning the 3-cup game, where
Okay.
the little bean is under one of the 3 cups, and using my enhanced perception and abilities, I can very quickly move the cup around and then just laugh and laugh and laugh as people can't find it.
Awesome. What does Toby think of that?
Toby probably thinks it's magic, like full on actual magic, and I don't do a whole lot to dissuade him from that.
Okay, kind of going back and watching it as the ball trying to detect it. Okay,
Exactly.
Finally, what about Kaylee? What contest did you participate in, and how did you win?
I think it was in an arena, and it was like an obstacle course race kind of thing.
Okay.
A whole bunch of people taking off at the same time, and it was not like gentlemanly. Like there was a lot of tripping and shoving and whatever. And I think Kaylee had like a long pole and was like really good at tripping people and knocking their feet out from them, and
that's awesome.
got the thing at the end. I don't know, like a skull or something.
Little Ben-Hur kind of around the track there. Okay. I like that very much. Probably one of the larger competitors. Or a lot of people go for raptors with speed contests, but you certainly kept up with them. So you've gotten through these contests, and your group is one of 3 that have kind of been selected for this next stage. And each of you are going to have to perform in a particular contest. And based on that, they're going to choose the 2 who will go on and kind of face each other in a special challenge in the arena. And a woman named Arturus, she's the dino handler. There's kind of stadiums, things like that. She's been very pleasant throughout this whole thing, coming over and talking to you, checking on your dinosaur. She's clearly very interested in that. She's one of the 3 higher ups. She's always saying everyone's beasts and muttering comments under her breath about them. But she seems relatively positive about you. She says and presents to you that there are 6 challenges to choose from. Each of you will have to select one to participate in. And I'm going to put those 6 challenges up there, and you feel free to ask me what they are like. I'll drop those in the chat. So there are the 6 choices. Anybody can ask about them, or if you have one that you're like, that's my character.
Feat of strength, please.
Okay. That will involve you and your dinosaur essentially loading up a wagon and dragging it as far and as fast as you can is what that's going to involve.
We do that for fun on our breaks.
Right.
Excellent.
Anyone else have a contest that they want to do?
Sorry, where did you post them?
Oh, I dropped it in the Hangouts chat.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Right. I've closed that tab. Yeah.
I'd like to do directing dinosaur.
Okay. And what that involves is they will blindfold your dinosaur. And essentially you have to direct them to pick up a set of objects as quickly as you can and as skillfully as you can. Any of those others speak to you, Mar or Kaylee?
Well, storytelling is definitely the obvious choice for Mar, which makes me tempted to go for something else. But it's important that we succeed, so I'll stick with storytelling.
Okay. And this is kind of one of those sort of competitive one-upsmanship, tall tale storytelling things.
Oh.
So there will be a couple of other competitors who will be Baron Munchausen you as you go through that. So Kaylee, what do you think?
Sorry, I'm having technical things and I don't see them. Can someone maybe read out?
Sure. You know what I'll do is I'm going to drop them in the folder.
Ah, cool.
And they're on the page with the roll for your party. Oh, and actually I got that one wrong, but that's okay.
Aha. All right. Yeah, obstacle course.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So we're going to start then with you, Lau, and your chosen one. So you are brought out. There's a lot of noise. Here's part of the problem. There, you're out. They've got stands of people out there. There's a couple of other competitors groups. There's one group that is kind of a mixed group of dinosaurs. They actually came over here from Appalachia. They're kind of rugged wilderness types, and they're yelling as loud as they can to try and break your concentration. And then there's another group that is like all raptors for their dino companions, who seem to be the other major competition, and they seem a little more calm and together. And you're brought out there, and they will blindfold Posh, and then they will put a set of 3 objects out there, essentially rings. Once Posh is blindfolded, and Posh is to essentially pick them up and put them in a bucket as quickly as possible, as directed by you.
Okay.
So, when you're commanding your dinosaur, you're a tier 1 person. So the starting difficulty for commanding your dinosaur starts at a 3.
Okay.
Okay. So what do you think you have that will make that easier for you?
So I think that the first round I'm going to use my ability of kinetic,
Okay.
kinesthetic, which is spend a round reading the body language of nearby dinosaurs, including my companion, and gain an asset for interacting with the dinosaurs for 10 minutes.
Perfect. So that's 1 asset that you've created, and that lowers your difficulty down to 2.
And I think the way that this actually looks is I'm basically all the other. Is this a simultaneous competition?
No, you each do it 1 at a time, and they're timing you.
I see. Okay. So yeah, so I I think they kind of say, I kind of watch everything where they say go. I'm ready to tell them, to tell Posh the quickest way to do things. And I think I do this kind of through a whistle and gargling thing.
Okay.
So it's a difficulty 2 now.
Okay.
And would that be it'll be an intellect test, is that right?
That will be an intellect test for you.
Okay. I think I'll just take it at 2.
Okay. Now, one of the things is that intellect is the pool there that he's using. He could spend effort that would cost him 3 points from that pool, and he would reduce that difficulty down by 1 more. But you're going to stick with the difficulty 2.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the difficulty 2.
Okay. Let me ask before you roll. Michael, you're playing Posh. How does Posh react to this situation, the being blindfolded and all the noise and everybody around and watching?
Well, so we haven't, I think, explored too much of Posh's personality, but he's vigilant, which makes me think that he is pretty good at focusing his attention. So he's probably disoriented and trying to listen for loud to make familiar noises that he will know how to interpret.
Okay. Kind of cocking the head and getting set there. All right. Stephen, let's have you roll. Let's see your success here. Kind of looking for a good degree of success.
Okay.
Difficulty is 6. Stephen, you have your die at home.
I do.
Okay.
I rolled an 8.
An 8. So it's not pretty. Tell me what happens.
Yeah. So I think the way that this looks is I go over and I, kind of speak softly to Posh as we're getting ready to start. and then they say, and I kind of make some noises to kind of put her at ease and everything, and then I step back, and whenever they say go, at first she doesn't understand anything that I'm saying. She doesn't understand the clicks and the noises, even though I just kind of did the same thing to her. However, very quickly she picks up on it, and she's like, oh, and she kind of jumps into the air and glides over and quickly just grabs all three objects at the same time and comes back.
Okay. And then you have to direct her to go and put them in the bucket that's down there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So she does the fetch, and that's probably what eats up some time, is that she comes back and you have a little bit of time there where she could have done it faster.
She wants to give them to you, and she doesn't understand at first. Yeah.
Right.
So you get a good time on that. You look good, not great, but you do look good. The Raptor group probably does pretty well. The Wilderness people, this is a little more delicate thing, so they pass on doing this as part of their contest set. They're like, oh no thanks. So you will have an edge there, a margin of 2. Mar, let's move on to you. And you chose the entertainment portion. Each of the other groups is going to put somebody forward there. So you've got 2 other people in kind of a competitive storytelling environment. They are level, effectively at this point, level 5, because there's 2 of them that you have to kind of beat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tell me about how you want to do that.
Well, can you tell me, you've mentioned that this is a tall tale story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So am I the one who goes first, or do I get a chance to listen to what the others are saying?
Which would you prefer?
Actually, let me take a different tack to this.
Sure.
I'm going to look about and try to assess the audience. This is, as we have described, a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Okay.
What I want to know is, what ribald or off-color topic should I insert into my story that is likely to appeal to this audience?
Okay.
Do I have enough time to kind of like study them and get a sense for that before I begin?
Sure. Let's say a difficulty 3 to create an asset, essentially a crowd perception. Does that seem cool?
That does seem cool, although I was referencing here an ability that I have to observe. Granted, it's a creature or object, not necessarily a situation, so I don't know if it applies, but to sort of get a root understanding of it to assist me with a task.
That's perfect. It'll last for this. And it means you don't have to take any kind of roll. You spend the 2 intellect points, and you've automatically got that difficulty. Got that down. So we'll say that you can
going to be sex or drugs or rock and roll.
Yeah. Okay. And so they are very much. This is a crowd that likes a raunchy story, rather than a braggy story. They essentially like that portion of the Canterbury Tales with all the sex stuff. The Wilderness guy is very much about kind of bragging, kind of rough and tumble, and the other person, she's kind of trying to be more flowery about her stuff. So right now we got a difficulty 4 then.
Okay.
Having applied that to your storytelling.
So
what kind of story?
Maud will pitch her approach to the audience, and since we are encouraged to one-up one another, he will perhaps insert the lead characters from the other story, implying that the rough and tumble guy is only rough and tumble in non-bedroom situations.
That seems perfect.
Is she the only female in the contest?
The woman from the Raptor group is the other female there.
Okay. So again, this is a raunchy crowd, perhaps implying a knowledge of the other storyteller that she does not have.
Okay. All right.
So I will go ahead and expend a level of effort here.
Okay.
So that means, let me see, between the talent that I have used and the effort that I'm expending minus my edge of 1, I should be down 2 points, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so let me update the sheet here. And I wonder if somebody might be willing to walk me through the mechanics of sharing my roll for your party roll with the group.
Oh, okay. Well, are you going to apply a skill to this as well?
I have skill in, I'm trained in creating a narrative.
Okay, so there we go. So right now we went from 5 down to 2. So here's how you use roll for your party. Go ahead and you can put a 1 in the D20 box by the D20 there up at the top. Okay. And you can choose a color that you want for your particular die. And once you've done that, you're going to hit submit.
Okay, and this is already attuned to the group?
Yes, everyone is on that same page, so they should be able to see it.
Excellent. That is pretty awesome.
Okay, so that is an 8. So with a difficulty of 2, you'll get that margin of 2. Are you happy with that roll, or do you want to?
Yes, I think I can live with that.
Okay.
Now, if we wanted to, could Houdini have Houdini is your, yeah. Could Houdini have sort of coordinated with Mar, like maybe in terms of just not really fully understanding maybe the story, but understanding his inflection and his and her inflections and her tone of voice in order to sort of pantomime certain aspects of it to be an asset? Would that have worked?
I'm not sure that he has that much language, but here's what he could do. He might react to her. I mean, she can use a big fruity tone of voice when she's
right. Yeah.
And he might puff up just to exaggerate, sort of the visual version of Badum Tish.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
and that's the special ability that you have with your companion. So that would have been an asset that would have reduced it down on the difficulty. So instead of succeeding by 2, you succeeded by 5.
Cool.
So the crowd loves it. The other 2, they don't use their dinosaurs at all, but the crowd loves dinosaurs. Everybody does, and they love that. They love the story. They love that you kind of make the other 2 kind of sputter and stop and go red-faced throughout this. And the wilderness guy kind of stomps off after this, and the woman just gives you this look of daggers as you leave. And you will see the a woman who handles sort of the diplomatic side of things around here kind of stands up and gives you a particularly long ovation after that story.
Obviously, I make a kissy face at the very fairy one as she leaves.
Awesome. So that was successful. Let's come to Gibson. Gibson, you and one of the wilderness guys. He's got essentially a kind of another one of these squat dinosaurs, like a triceratops. But I think if I recall correctly, there are no triceratops. This is like a wrong thing, but dinosaur language. It's something that looks like that.
Sure.
And you both have to get your beast mounted up to this, and then you have to haul a bunch of stones over to it, and then once you've got the cart filled, you have to have the dinosaur pull it as fast as it can. The first one across the finish line with all the stones is the winner.
Okay. So let's see. I mean,
difficulty is 4 because you're only facing one competitor right now.
Okay. So can I assign might to this task?
Absolutely.
All right. Then I shall.
Okay. And because you've got an edge of 2, assigning might to it, putting effort into it, only costs you 1 point.
All right, great.
So that'll go to a difficulty of 3.
Difficulty 3. All right. Let's see, smashing and breaking things, not really the same thing. Climbing, running, no, it's speed. Can I use my tooth and nail so as to get some use out of my prehensile tail on this?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'll let you use as an asset. That seems like a good use of that in an interesting, novel way. Tell me what that looks like.
Well, you know, much to everybody's surprise, out of my kilt unwraps this beautiful muscular prehensile tail, and it starts grabbing rocks and piling them.
Okay.
This is literally my dream come true. I can't
Okay.
even believe that I'm going to do this. This is great. And let's see, flying, gliding, diving. I don't know. Toby's benefit is he helps me with initiative. He helps me react to things.
Yeah,
he's good at,
not. Yeah, he's good at that, but not so much the speed part of things.
Right. I think I want to throw some more strength on this. Can I do that?
No, you can't, because you're tier 1, which means you only have an effort of 1. You can only apply effort once.
Oh, yes.
Which, interjecting, is the competitor dinosaur also an ankylosaurus?
It's a kind of a low-bodied one, like with the sort of triceratops style front ridge. They're both like the ankylosaurus, kind of low to the ground.
Well, what were you thinking, Michael?
I was thinking of cheating, but I would need them to be different species. So.
Where am I at right now then?
So we were at 4. You've applied effort for 1, and we've got an asset for 2. So right now you're at difficulty of 2.
Okay, difficulty of 2. That is not bad.
That's not bad.
Oh. Takes more that draws the attention up to 3 creatures within short range. Can I use my
sabotage your competitor?
Yes. I mean, I'm gonna mask it in sort of a like a charge type thing, but what I'm really doing is trying to completely distract my my competitor's creature.
Okay, spend 2 might points to do that, and tell me what that looks like.
Let's see. I'm dying to go Tarzan here, but I'm not going to. It sounds like an inhuman bellow that would be much more at home in the the great cat house, like a lion's roar coming out of this wide human chest.
Perfect.
Which obviously bothers nearby creatures.
We'll say that takes difficulty down to 1.
All right, great.
Okay, so all you need is a 3 or better. That's all you need.
I really wish you wouldn't say it that way.
I'm going to say it that way every time.
All right. Come on. Did you say I needed an 8?
No, you need a 3 or better.
3 or better. Yeah, I'm good. 7.
7. I'm having that weird thing where I don't see some people's dice. But I can see. Actually, I don't see it in your thing. Oh, there it is. Now it's appeared. Magic.
Yes, now I see it.
Yeah. So that's a margin of 4. So that's a pretty good success. So the wilderness guy is loading up his stuff, and you do that roar, and his beast starts to come over towards you, and he's like, no, stop. And he has to run the rocks further, and he is still getting the last rocks in by the time that you've got everything in there between you and the tail, and you will take off. And I imagine that Toby is a little slow off the mark. What does Toby think of this? How does Toby? What's Toby's approach? Or
So Toby is a little slow.
well, let me
off
ask
the
ask Toby's player.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think Toby is he's kind of watching this whole thing like a little confused as to like what's going on.
A lot of people shouting, noise.
Totally. And then, you know, when you tell him to like, all right, go, like time to go. He like he's a little stunned, but then like he starts going, and he's you know, he's kind of like waddling, you know, like big wide steps. But pulling it pretty good.
I imagine he builds up speed rather than, you know, very slowly till he gets to sort of freight train. And you'll cross the finish line and people will cheer. That the wilderness guy is just getting the last rocks into his thing by the time that you have crossed the finish line, and he looks furious.
Awesome.
So you guys have to have 3 victories. A 4th will cement you as the hometown favorites now, if you can do that. So we're going to come to Kaylee. And Kaylee, what they have is they've set up a long run, and they've built a set of scaffolding on top of it, and they've got ropes. And they've got weights attached to those ropes. And essentially, they're going to do them in kind of a pendulum back and forth across this course. They've also got some pits as well there. Essentially, you need to be the first one across the line to the finish line. And one of your competitors is one of these people on the Raptor. It's kind of a dark blue-skinned raptor. That's from the sort of the more trained crew. And then the wilderness guy is on a platypode, a smaller one. Looks a little more fishy aquatic, but pretty fast and kind of nimble. So to start this out, got 2 competitors, which means we start with a difficulty of 5 for you. And so we can look at skills and other assets and special abilities. What do you think you can use to bring that difficulty down?
As far as skills, he's got lots of things that are probably helpful in a situation like this.
Which one do you think you want to rely on?
Jumping sounds useful in a situation like this.
So you're going to focus on the leaps. That sounds good. So that takes a difficulty when you apply that skill. It takes it down from a 5 to a 4.
Okay.
Now, one of the things you can do is you can apply effort, and that's probably from your speed pool.
Yeah.
If you spend 2 points, you can reduce that difficulty down another step.
I definitely want to do that.
Okay, so that's a 3. Do you have anything else that might act as an asset? Any special abilities or anything?
So, the one that makes the most sense maybe is my companion.
Okay.
One. I gain an asset on all perception tasks. Help me search, look, or listen.
Yeah. Kind of making that timing of those swinging pendulums.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're at a 5. We went 4, 3. We're now at a 2. So you just need a 6 or better to win this contest.
Do you want to start some trouble?
Always.
So Houdini is we've already established like a troublemaker, right? So I'm thinking one of his favorite tricks is to hide, because he's good at stealth, because, you know, so dark colored and quiet. Jump out and scare people. So I'm going to try to persuade him that he wants to hide in one of the pits and jump out and scare. You mentioned one of the larger participants, like, I'm figuring they can't complain too much of cheating if a random dinosaur just jumps out and blah in the face of one of the competitors.
That seems fair.
But I'll leave it up to Houdini whether he understands or wants to comply. I don't usually ask him to do this. Usually I ask him not to do this.
What do you think, Houdini?
I think it sounds like a great idea.
All right. So Houdini, you are gonna hide down in there. We're just consider that an asset for the purposes of this. I think that's the easiest way to do this. Rather than having a secondary role. Are you cool with that?
If you're asking me, yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So that'll take you down to a difficulty of 1.
Man,
Are you happy with that? And once that happens, I mean, all you need to roll is a 3 or better.
Right. Sounds great.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Oh, man.
18.
18.
Dang.
Wow, man.
All right.
So I imagine early on, Houdini pops out and completely freaks out this platypud. Like it doesn't know what's going on. The crowd goes wild for this. They're loving it, and it just leaves you and this a guy on the raptor like neck and neck. But what happens? What does it look like that allows you to get that edge there, Kaylee?
Yeah, I think one of those like so like they're running neck and neck kind of. And one of those swinging things on the weights are coming. And they just kind of like sync it up really good together, and they like just give them a good little nudge and then like make them swerve a bit, and then they get, just knocked out.
Okay.
Rider gets knocked off.
Knocks him down into the pit. What does September think of all of this, Steven?
So are the dinosaurs actually jumping across the ropes as well?
Well, the ropes are swinging across,
Uh-huh.
and then they're trying to jump across the pits that are on the ground.
I see. So I think that September at first doesn't really understand what's going on, but kind of sees a couple of examples, and then with their powerful legs is able to just easily clear the pits.
So between the timing and the clearing of the pits, you guys win with a large margin of success there, demonstrating your skill and acumen. And of course, the crowd will go wild at the end of this. There will be, a feast kind of set out for you. Once it becomes clear that you're the winning team, people are putting out all kinds of fresh meats and goods. A feast set out not only for you, but also for your dinosaurs. Lots of roasted things and stuff that you probably haven't eaten before. Real specialty foodstuffs and things that have grown. Maybe even some things from sort of contraband hydroponics from the future. Maybe even like a tomato. One of these very strange vegetables. And eventually, Arturus, the dino handler, will come over. She comes over to your table and she says, "That was magnificent. Tonight, I want you to stay in my house, put you up in my villa, and then tomorrow you'll be facing the Raptor team for the sort of last competition. Does that sound good to you four?"
Yeah, sounds great.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you. That was a fine display. And she'll kind of turn and look at you and Mar, and she'll say, a little creative cheating never hurt. So no problem with that. Yeah. Right. Your bird just happened to be sleeping.
But I told him to find some place to take a nap.
What an amazing coincidence. She'll turn to you, Kaylee, and she'll say, those are some legs on your T-Rex there. I don't think I've seen a T-Rex jump like that before.
He's a good one. He's a keeper of that.
Excellent. Well, when you're done with the feast, I'll have some of my people bring you back to the household and set you up with bunks and stables for the night.
So I think Lao actually eats with the dinosaurs.
Okay.
And is over with that, kind of group, not too far away.
Okay.
And, kind of pipes up at that and says, I'll need a space in the stables.
Okay. Yeah, we got plenty of room. I know handlers that like to sleep close by their charges. I can understand it.
Yeah.
We've got some pups in there. They might be making some noise, so just be aware of that.
I'm used to it. It's fine.
Okay. And she will get you set up, and we're going to take our 5-minute break. And when we
Alright.
come back, we're going to start with essentially you guys will be doing capture the flag against this Raptor team. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Awesome.
Michael, you're running just general Cypher at Gen Con or a specific setting?
Oh, well, I'm running a game to highlight the versatility of the system. So it's going to be a mega mashup. I actually ran it. I'm not sure if you'll be aware, but Steven runs like a mini convention out of his house every year. And I ran it there a couple years back. It's basically one character from each genre I can think of. You know, they form together a super team and they have to go investigate strange happenings in the town of Miskatonic. So we have the elven sorceress and the retired space marine and the super spy with all the gadgets.
That's great. The retired space marine. That's awesome.
Oh, that is classic. Nice. So you will settle in for the evening here at Arturus's house. She kind of keeps an eye on you. You have the sense that maybe she suspects that you just kind of came out of nowhere. So maybe she suspects that there's something there behind that. But she doesn't do anything. Doesn't spy on you. But does keep an eye on you. She's out there probably in the middle of the night tending to some of the dinosaur pups that have just been born out there, and she clearly is hands-on with them.
And I'll help with that.
Okay. In the morning, you will be brought to sort of the main arena. There's a lot of noise and hubbub. You can see they've got the various numbers to do the betting, and you've got probably a couple of hours before the event begins to do any kind of prep or things that you want to do. So does anybody want to do anything before the event?
I would like to go and scope out what I can of the other team.
Okay.
I wonder if any of you guys are any good at sneaking, because I kind of stand out in a crowd.
I'm not very sneaky.
I would sneak really well, probably in the jungle or among other animals. Yeah.
I'm sneaky-ish, but I'm not sure.
Well, Mar, is your intent to sneak and scout, or are you talking to people, or what's your method for doing this?
We're prepping, so are they. If I can get an impression of how they are prepping, then I may be able to come up with some way to counter it later or to mess with it.
Okay.
Your whole team is raptors, right?
Yeah, they're all raptors. They look like they might even be from the same litter.
Okay. And forgive me, senior moment. Remind me of the nature of the contest.
So what you're going to be doing is essentially it's capture the flag. You're going to have a big arena. There's going to be a marker at either end to be picked up and carried. You can't essentially touch your own marker while it's in your goal zone, but you can try and get it back once it's been taken.
Okay. And how hard do I think it would be to get my hands on a vial of raptor pheromones?
I don't know. I mean, let's see. Raptor pheromones. Probably, I would say difficulty 4.
Okay.
That's doable.
It is doable.
So anything you want to apply to that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. So here's the thing. It is one thing to get a hold of the thing. It is another thing to make sure that word does not get back to anybody.
That is true.
So I will expend effort to locate the goods. That
Okay.
seems like an intellect task, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll go down to a 3.
Okay, let's roll a die. Oh, I have to re-enter it. That's fine. Ahem.
So that's a 20, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That is what I see as well.
So you will absolutely be able to get a hold. Somebody has a hold of it, and they can give you essentially this raptor vial in an easily concealable, easily sprayable form.
Okay.
Like it is very easy to use. However, you are talking to this guy who you're speaking with, and I'm going to do an intrusion here. He said he's talking to you, and kind of starts to realize who you are, and realizes that he put a bunch of money down on the Raptors. This is after he sold this stuff to you. So he is going to go and probably tell the other team that you've got something up your sleeve.
Okay. What do I think the odds are that I can persuade him that we are sufficiently not to be messed with, like dirty, rotten cheaters who will stop at nothing, such that I might persuade him that that's a bad idea?
Okay. You do
I
have
am
intimidation, so that does suggest that you can be scary. He's level 4, so difficulty 4 right now. You can see, you kind of notice his betting slips and realize that he's kind of looking at the door after he's sold this thing. So difficulty 4, 3 with intimidation.
Okay. Again, I will expend effort, smoke him while you got him, so to speak.
Yep.
And we will see if this goes well for me.
Comes a 2. Now, you don't have to resubmit. What you can do is you can click on one of your dice to select it. And then press the green button that says reroll selected.
Interesting. Okay, so I got a 10.
Okay. You give him that eye. What is the line that sort of cements your badassery in this?
I'm sorry. She is intimidating. I am not.
All right, no, fair enough.
Uh,
Absolutely.
I think she will. So in this case, she will sort of imply, as she's discussing, that she's already rigged one of the contests yesterday, and essentially that she really wants this victory, and nothing had better get in her way.
Okay. It becomes clear to him that you are cutthroat. Despite your ribald story yesterday, and he looks at his betting slips
Breaks
and
out the crazy eyes.
Yeah, he goes, okay, it's only money. He's not going to get in the middle of this, and he will simply say, "Well, okay, good luck."
Don't you get an XP for that?
That is so.
Yes,
Oh,
you get
yeah.
XP, and you give an XP to someone else.
That is true. Well, in this case, I think we are going to be relying probably on our agility above all other considerations, which suggests that I should offer it to Kaylee.
Okay, Kaylee, you will get an experience point.
So I'd like to point something out, Lowell.
Absolutely.
I have an inability in responding to intrusions.
Oh yes.
So that means I cannot reject them. Is that correct?
I believe that's what that means. Yes.
Okay. And I also noticed that my might pool started out, my current was 19. I think that was just a typo. It's supposed to be 10. 'Cause that's
That
my
is.
max.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
cut and paste error. I
Yeah.
appreciate your honesty. On that note, with your now heavily reduced might pool, is there anything you'd like to do before the contest?
So I like the idea. So I've gotten a pretty good lay of the land of our benefactor, the woman who let us stay the night at her place.
Right.
What kind of animals did she have in her stables? Are they just generic?
She Arcturus is the dino handler for a lot of the dino wrestling around here. She's a breeder. So a lot of what she has are the bigger animals, the larger ones, the couple story tall, the brontosauruses that push up against each other and that kind of thing. They have various size classes, but that's what she works with.
And correct me if I'm wrong. If we win this competition, then that's how we get access to the pavilion, correct?
That is correct.
Can I assume that Arcturus already has access to the pavilion?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that I'm going to do my best to impress her with the wrestlers she has in her stables.
Okay.
In order to basically, I feel confident that we'll get in. We'll see, but I feel confident that we'll get in, and I want a benefactor once we get in there. I want a friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think you have in terms of persuasion? She's a level 4 character.
Yeah.
Actually, probably level 5. She's a higher up here. So
Yeah. So I think that this is let's see, probably the best skill I have might be perception.
okay.
And I think this comes into play in that I see that one of the big dinos is favoring one leg. And I kind of point this out and say, we might need to have this looked at. Let's make sure that they're in the best health. And I'm going to use.
So that's 1. So we go from a 5 to a 4.
Yeah. And I think that I'm going to use not discovered dinosaurs. I have something. Yeah, I have a quick study, which is whenever I take a little time to, observe whatever's in front of me, I get an asset on the next non-combat action. That takes it to a 3.
That's perfect.
I will spend intellect. Intellect, probably.
Yeah, intellect.
To bring that down to a 2, and I'll roll that.
Okay.
Ooh, and I rolled an 18. Yay!
All right.
Nice.
So yeah, she watched you last night help out with the pups. She's impressed with you and your companions. Dinosaurs, the companions, how well you work with them, and you point out this dinosaur that needs medical attention, and you get the sense that she is definitely looking at you guys as somebody to help out and maybe exchange favors with.
And I think I it's not something she sees very often, but I think I express humbleness that we're nothing special. It's fine. This is just how we survive and how we get along in the world. It's okay. Thank you.
That seems fair. She will accept that. She knows the score. She knows how these things work. Kaylee, what about you? Is there anything that you want to do in preparation for the contest?
Can I ask a couple questions first?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I saw I had 1 XP already. Was that supposed to be there, or was that an error?
That was an error.
That was an error. So I'll be at 1. Good. What is mimicry? I'm looking at Cyphers.
Oh, okay. So basically, when you do that, you can perfectly mimic any sound or voice or call that you've heard before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's a sort of a one-use item to create that ability.
Cool. And then my last question before I'll do something.
Sure.
How do recovery rolls work?
So the first recovery roll you take in a session takes just an action, and you would roll a d6 plus 1, and you could then put that many points to recover your pools, and so you can divide it as you wish.
Okay. Awesome.
Essentially, the second recovery action takes several minutes, and then the next one takes an hour, and then most of a day. So they have sort of 4 levels of recovery.
Cool. So I don't have any great ideas for what Kaylee is doing.
Okay. So if she's not doing anything prep, what is she doing? What do we see her in the hours leading up to this?
Right. Yeah, I think she's like in a pretty public space, maybe like a high vantage point somewhere. And she's like sitting in a very, very like calm, like meditative, like almost, but like really watching everyone and you know, trying to see anything out of place, or like watching the competition if she can see them, and like studying them, and just like, you know, people watching.
Okay. I will say that the Raptors are kind of a little bit out of trying to keep themselves at least a little bit quiet. But what's her reaction to the various people that are coming up and are kind of like, you know, admiring September, you know, and, you know, in that kind of judge of horse flesh kind of way, where they're trying to assess and judge whether they should bet more or less. What's your reaction to that?
Just be careful. We might not be the only cheaters.
Right. I think she's really amused because she knows how this is going to play out, like from the get-go. Like she sees it, and she can see September like keeping her cool, but like the more it goes on, like the more irritated she's getting, and like she just knows that it's coming, and then like, you know, somebody like gets too close, and September just like roars this like huge terrifying roar, and Kaylee laughs at the whole scene.
Yeah. And even people here, they're all used to dinosaurs and things, but the roar of a T-Rex this close shakes everyone who's here. And so there's that fallback of people, you know, that will scatter to the 4 corners of the market after that.
Yeah, it's probably like fathers telling their kids, don't worry, they have useless forearms, you know, like trying to make it sound.
Tiny little arms. Oh my God. So let's do our last check-in with Gibson then. Gibson, what are you doing?
So Gibson wakes early and starts working out immediately. And then has a hearty breakfast. And then goes to phase 2, which is a combined workout with Toby, where they have this thing where Toby's like a mobile gymnastics horse with a mace tail. So Gibson sort of like uses him as sort of like the base, and sort of jumps on and around him while the tail thrashes. And you know, it's kind of a capoeira looking thing. In fact, maybe some of the local kids come by with their buckets, and they got some sound, some percussion going. And then when I'm done, I don't throw any feces because I'm in somebody else's house.
Right.
I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever's coming our way.
All right.
There is one more step to my cunning plan, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I have been, I have already shown the crowd. They know that I design dinosaur bling.
Okay.
I need to quickly slap together some kind of decorative faceplate for Houdini, who, lest we forget, is a raptor, that will strongly infuse his nose with some innocent scent, like the scent of grass or something, so
Oh
that
yeah.
the pheromones won't filter into him. The question is, will he wear it?
Well, I think you're going to have to try and create uh, a thing that he's going to wear. Your interaction with him is a 3, so it's difficulty 3 to build this and get him to wear it.
Okay, so I am trained in crafting dinosaur accessories. Yes,
Okay.
really.
Yeah. So
Um,
we'll go to a 2.
And I'm thinking I try to make this appealing to him since it's going to be on his face anyway. Like, if I can put a bite or 2 of his favorite food in it, then I don't know if that will make him keep it on, but at least he might be more receptive to putting it on.
Okay. Okay. Tell me what his favorite food is.
Well, I'll leave that to him.
Okay. Houdini, what is your favorite food?
I would guess it's raw meat.
Of what kind?
Um, let's see. What kind of creatures are available?
Is it like a little reptilian thing? Is it like a little a proto mammal?
Little
Is
he,
it a
he
fish?
loves the proto mammal meat. That is the
Okay.
best.
All right. Essentially, great sort of horrible opossum type things. Okay.
Giant beavers.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, if it's something that smells strongly, that's all to the good for my plan.
Okay.
Okay.
So that gets you to a 1.
Okay, dice, don't fail me now.
Or
So did I get another 10 or did I mess it up?
I think you probably got another 10.
Okay.
Is what occurred there. If you clicked on it and then hit reroll selected, sometimes it'll give you the same number. And so, yeah, you will get this decorative faceplate. And what does it look like from the outside?
So we've already featured a lot of carved bone, and again, I want to stay consistent with that so people won't get suspicious. So it's probably like a kind of circlet thing that goes behind his cranium and then curves down over his nose.
That sounds perfect.
That's excellent. Eyes wide shut, dinosaur edition.
Yes. So the time will come. The high noon. People have been drinking various fermented products already, and the crowd is loud and the arena is packed as you are brought down essentially the southern entryway into the arena. It's a big round area. There are blocks set up. Pits and various pieces of terrain across there, kind of artificially created, and a set of nets across the top to keep anything from flying in or from flying out. And essentially, there is a kind of a like a football of sorts, essentially a pigskin inflated and reinforced so that it won't be destroyed by the carrying. That is colored, painted kind of a bright blue on one end and a bright red on the other. And guys kind of line up in your area, and the Raptors will all line up on their side of things. They clearly are coordinated. Like when they come in, they kind of move in a formation. They know what they're doing. And so I'm going to wait till Michael gets back, and I'll talk a little bit about how we're going to be handling this.
All right. That was fast.
Very good. Oh yeah, got your plug. So one of the things is in Cypher, standard Cypher, a move is an action. Okay, and that's great if we had a map, or we weren't kind of doing things a little more abstract. So I want you to imagine in this is a little bit different from standard Cypher, that you can take a short move and you can act. There's some people that have special abilities that allow them to take a long move and act. But I just want to get that in terms of your thinking about what you're going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you roll initiative. And initiative goes against a particular stat of the opponent, the difficulty. If you beat that, then you go first before they do. If you don't, you go after them. And essentially, I'll let you kind of coordinate, describe, and say what you're doing. You want to get their pigskin and bring it down to your area. They want to get yours and bring it down to their area. So they're probably going to put, a couple people in defense and a couple people in offense. They are fast, these raptors. So the initiative difficulty is a 5. It is a speed test.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions about the rules.
Absolutely.
Is it considered in poor taste to harm the other team?
Yes. It is considered fine to roughhouse, and people accept that this is going to be rugby rules. But actually going to deliberately injure, kill, or mutilate an opponent is considered in bad taste, and potentially the leaders could act to disqualify you in that case.
And in what condition does the ball, the marker, need to go across to the other, I guess, back to our goal?
They accept that you guys have dinosaurs, so they would like the majority of the thing to go across. They would like it to be relatively intact.
Would it be possible for like our T-Rex to eat their goal and then come back across?
Yeah.
That's
That would-
hilarious.
That would be a crazy plan. You're not sure how they would react.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that would be okay or not. Let's assume that it won't be okay.
Almost broke into a bare naked lady song there.
Fair enough.
Oh man, we have a lot of. You know what we haven't actually talked is how. I mean, I'm guessing the three of us know. Have you told us about your plan with the pheromones and stuff?
Well, that actually does depend. I mean, we've run around a little bit beforehand, so I'm assuming we know each other. Would you want to know?
I think I would like to know, in case, just so that I don't step on your toes, do anything the wrong time,
And I think Lau would be very angry if this happened and didn't, because whenever you mess with dinosaurs, I think that he, wants to understand what's going on.
Okay. And so how would I expect Kaylee to react?
I think Kaylee's probably indifferent, and you probably know it. She's probably like doesn't care that you're doing it, but like has little faith that it's going to work. It's like this big fancy scheme, and she's just like, no, we just have to, run into them harder.
Okay. In that case, probably I have told Gibson, but I have presented it to him as like a ace in the hole, like last ditch kind of solution to if we start to get in trouble.
okay.
While we are setting up, like, is it we run to our sides and everybody rushes right in, or do I have a moment to survey the terrain?
You have a moment to survey the terrain.
Okay, so I'm going to just, do a quick visual sweep and try and figure out, try to assess the terrain. Like, where can we set up a bottleneck? Where, where can we leverage they're faster, but we're bulkier, as a group? Where can we leverage that?
Okay. Is that you using the understanding ability? Is that what's going on?
Yes, that's the plan.
All right. That seems fair. Just spend the points and you can get that difficulty reduction. since you've got a number of different spots, the Raptors have something of an advantage because they are all kind of moderate size, so they can get in between things, and they do leap over things pretty fast. You've got a little more variety to your size and speed. All right, so difficulty for this initiative roll is a 5. If you have initiative as a skill, you can apply that, and that'll reduce the difficulty by 1. So let's start with you, Stephen. Let's have your initiative check.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, I have 2 assets on initiative.
Ooh, let's
one
look.
from my companion.
Yes.
And one from read the signs. By watching the Raptors, I can see which direction they're going to head.
Excellent.
I like it.
Fine.
Difficulty 3.
Yeah, so let's roll that. And I got an 11.
Okay. So you're going to be going before them. Mar, let's see your initiative.
Okay. Is there, so if I'm re-rolling the 20s, is there a way to get rid of the spare one?
Oh, yeah. So go ahead and click
Delete
on the die
Sorry,
and delete selected.
yeah, okay.
Never hit clear. That will remove everything from the table.
Well, okay then.
All right. So
I'm up tonight.
that is crazy. So Mar, with that 20, I'll give you whatever asset on your first action. Okay, as a Benny on that. Does that seem fair?
It could, but if I may, I'd rather spend it to point Gibson in the right direction and give him an asset on his initiative.
That's perfect. We can certainly do that. So Gibson, that will take your initiative. Was a 5. You've got initiative skill things a 4. Take it down another. You get a 3.
All right. I think that's as good as I can get. Oh, actually, I could use 2 points,
speed.
right? Yeah, let's do that.
You got an edge on speed there. Oh no, it cost you 3 points.
3 points. All right, so I'm down to 9.
Yep.
Yeah.
Difficulty of 2. You just need a 6 or better.
Piece of cake.
Do it.
Absolutely.
20. Whoa!
What the what?
The roll for your party's gone nuts.
This is crazy. Another 20 on the table. So I will offer you an asset on your next roll, or you can hand it off to somebody else.
Yeah, I'll hand off the next one to Palau.
To Lau, he's already rolled for his initiative. Do you want to have him first?
Well, then Kaylee's the only one left, then, right?
Yep.
Or it is.
Okay, Kaylee. So there's that sort of quick discussion that you do amongst the group. You've got initiative skill, so that reduces difficulty down to 4. The asset, the assistance that Gibson gives you takes down to a 3, so difficulty 3 right now.
Right. Good. Would the companion thing come in on that?
Tell me how.
Perception task? Would this be?
How would that assist you here? For initiative?
Well, just like seeing the others and how they're moving and getting.
I'm going to be generous this time. I'll say yes.
Okay, sure.
This time, because I've still got intrusions up my sleeve, so you guys are going to regret all that. So difficulty 2.
All right. That's a 20.
What is
Uh-oh.
going
I think we have a problem.
Shane Labeling has borked this, and he is doing this to assist players, and I do not care for this. I'm going to reroll that selected and see what happens there. Oh, see, now I get a 13. As if to prove to me that this is actually, oh my God, 3 20s in a row. Okay. So you're going to have an asset on your first action that you can use then.
Sure.
Kaylee. So you guys are hot off the mark. Who wants to declare their action first? Tell me what you're doing. that'll kind of set the order for how we're going to do this, because you guys have a chance to decide how you want to order yourselves.
How far away is the other football?
Let's say 100 meters.
Is that long or is that short? That's long.
That's long. That's a football field.
Okay. And how far away are the other Raptors? Are they also 100 meters?
Yep, they're all over there in their end zone, like you are.
Okay.
Isn't your pterodactyl faster than them?
It can cover the ground faster, yes, and I can also.
What makes the most sense?
Well, like Lowell said, we probably need some people to go out and try and grab their football and come back, and some people to try and defend ours.
Okay, I'll work on defending ours. I'm not that fast, and
Okay.
Okay, and I'll go and try and get theirs.
I also am not fast, and the T-Rex probably is, so I'll play defense as well.
Okay.
Cool.
So Lau and Gibson on defense. Sorry, Gibson and Mar on defense, and Lau and Kaylee on offense.
That's perfect.
Okay. Little D, little O's. This is as close as we're going to get to sports ball from me. Okay. Well, let's start with offense then. I think I want to do that. And Stephen, you spoke up first, asking questions, so I want to make you go first.
Awesome. I'll do that.
Okay.
Even though I rolled lowest out of everyone.
I know.
Yeah, so I'm fleet of foot, which will let me move a long distance and take an action in the same round. But I have to succeed in a difficulty 2 speed roll.
Okay.
And I think I like that, so I'm going to spend speed. I'll spend speed to make that a difficulty 1.
Okay.
And roll that, and I got a 12.
Okay. So let's say that the long move will probably take you a good way into their side of the field.
Yeah.
And then what action do you want to take?
Actually, the way that this looks is basically Posh, the Proto-Raptor, kind of takes off, and I run after it.
Okay.
And then grab a hold and kind of swing. It can't lift me, but it can, give me a little bit of a boost to get a little bit further out. And that's how I got as far as I did.
Okay. And is there something you want to do? Do you want to try and interfere with one of them? Do you want to try to overcome one of their defenders?
I'd like to, as a defender comes past, I'd like to try to, or as someone comes past, I'd like to try and trip them.
Okay.
So basically, they didn't expect me to be this far.
Absolutely. So what it is they have a speed defense of 5. So you may make essentially an attack roll to create a problem for them.
Okay. So I think that I'm going to spend, this would be, let's see, I'm going to glean info. This is to see which one of them probably is either too eager or too focused, not focused on me, is focused on the prize.
Okay. 4.
And I'm also going to use my intellect to kind of reason that out. So I'm going to spend intellect to lower that.
Okay. 3.
And I think that's good. I think I'll roll a 3.
Difficulty 3 to kind of do that.
Oh, and I rolled a 6.
Okay. So you do kind of get up, and these raptors are faster than you would have expected. I mean, they're coordinated. Like one of them, as you kind of go in, the other one, shoots across to cover. They are super coordinated.
Okay.
But you are deep in their territory right now. Kaylee, you're also on offense. What are you doing?
I think Kaylee's plan. So she's riding on September,
right?
And I think that it's I think it's just a charge. Like I think she's charging for the thing, and And yeah, if anyone is like in defense or going past, she's gonna try to ram them
Okay.
and hopefully stay on top.
So you've got two choices. You can try to engage with one of the attackers that's kind of coming up in this area, or you can do essentially the long move.
Maybe I'll try to intercept somebody who's
Okay.
who's coming.
All right. So you kind of do the charge up, and you go to knock aside one of these offenders that's trying to get into your zone. So they have a speed defense of 5.
Okay.
So you need to do that. Do you have any skills or anything that would apply to that?
I feel like balancing could be a skill that I could throw at that.
I love it. Difficulty 4.
And then could I use, is that worth it? Probably. Could I use swipe against the attacker? So a quick agile melee attack and does less damage but would daze them. Sort of?
If you do that, I'll consider that an asset. Spend the speed point, and we'll consider that an asset to take it down to a 3.
Perfect. I like it.
So difficulty 3 right now.
Yeah, I think I'll go with that.
Okay. Just missed. Now you could spend an experience point to re-roll that.
An experience point to re-roll that. No, I don't.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hang on to that. Okay. So you do kind of charge to engage. You don't get that far along the field, but get your head down to go at this raptor, and it dodges the last minute and dodges out of the way. And you see that one of the raptor people essentially whatever is the equivalent of flipping you off in this world will do that. Okay.
Clever girl.
Gibson, you are on defense. And there are a couple people coming in. How do you want to set yourself up, or how do you want to intercept here?
I want to do, let's see. I'll put Fort Toby longwise.
Okay.
And I will set myself up on top of his armored back so that I can more easily, jump off in whatever direction somebody might be trying to come through.
Okay. You kind of move Toby. You kind of get up near your goal line. And at that point, GM intrusion, I'm going to offer you an XP. Because as Toby comes up, he kind of steps on something here that's probably just shallowly buried on the ground. And this screamer pod just shrieks out to daze him and kind of send Toby running.
What is it, like a mechanical noise-making thing?
It is actually like a pod that's filled with these shrieking insects that when you step on and crack it open, and it really disorients dinosaurs.
Yeah, it would disorient the hell out of me too. That sounds terrible. All right, I will. I'm willing to face this intrusion.
Okay, so you're gonna get an XP, and you're gonna give an XP to someone else.
Okay, I will give an XP to Laos.
Okay.
We all have one now. Yes, that's good.
Okay. And
all right.
So I think you're going to have to make a control roll. I think it's actually going to be a more difficult control roll than normal. I think difficulty is going to be 4 to keep Toby in line.
Okay. As an asset, can I quickly grab my vial of dinosaur pheromones and, crack it open and pour it on myself while I'm yelling,
Perfect.
Toby! Okay, good.
So that's 1. So we go to difficulty 3. You also have your companion ability.
Oh yeah.
Which I realized after I sprang a trap on you, which was kind of a mistake on my part. That was a bad intrusion to throw at you.
That's okay. Maybe he can help us both recover faster.
So that'll be difficulty 2.
All right. Let's see.
You can spend
then-
intellect on this.
Yeah, let's do that because I'm kind of like,
3 points.
oh,
Oh, yes.
flowers for Algernon.
Absolutely.
It's terrible.
Difficulty 1.
Okay. Let's do this crazy thing. T20. Come on back, Toby. Yes, 11.
Oh, I was hoping that Wolfie party would forsake you.
Like, if anybody can blow this, it's Brian.
Yeah. So it does eat your action, but you do keep Toby from rearing back and essentially losing control here from that screamer pod. Mar, you saw this, clearly some sabotage on the part of those raptors. What are you going to do?
If I can steal just a second, salute them.
Okay.
And then, so Mara isn't terribly physical by nature. I think she is just going to try to cow the raptors to follow a path towards Toby, just kind of try to herd them towards the ankylosaur.
Okay. So that seems like a good asset setup for him. Let's say their difficulty for that will be a 4 rather than their speed defense.
Okay. I am trained in intimidation.
3.
So let's see how this goes.
Okay.
And I am always the one to spend down their pool, so I'll go ahead and expend effort as well.
Okay.
And let's see what I get. Okay.
15.
Not bad.
Yeah. So what does that look like?
So as they come in, since I'm in my head, I'm visualizing like here's the goal, and in front there's Toby kind of off to the left. Brian said that he's kind of like stretched lengthwise across the path.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go charging like to sort of cover the other side and like waving my arms around and just acting like a total crazy mad woman. Probably don't want to mess with, shrieking at the top of my lungs, that sort of thing.
Okay. So you guys will get into position, kind of shriek, kind of drive them along. So here is what is going to happen. One of the defenders is going to move obviously up to try and intercept Lau. Another one is trying to get in the way to maybe essentially confuse Kaylee. And then the other two, kind of driven by Mar, are going to try and get past Gibson and Toby. So we're going to resolve those tests right now. Let's start with the furthest out. One of these raptors is trying to get in your way and is trying to intercept you, essentially to knock you off balance and keep you from getting anywhere near that ball. Their difficulty for their attack is a 4. Lau.
Okay. So let's see. I think that I'm gonna take. This would be speed defense.
Well, I'll let you describe it. I mean, is it? I mean, if you can go might if you want to kind of push to shove back, or speed if you want to get around them.
I see. So I know that raptors are, have a pretty high center of gravity. They're bipedal.
Okay.
And they're going to stretch up. So I think that I'm going to kind of duck down so that they have to kind of reach down and maybe overbalance themselves. So, and, basically use that almost like a football tackle itself
Okay.
to push back against them. So let's do might.
Okay.
This is going to be, I don't, I think, yeah. So I don't think perception or anything like that will take place.
No. But you do get the kinesic, because that lasts for 10 minutes.
Oh, that's right. So that's the kinesic is 1, and then that takes it to a 3, and then if I spend might, that takes it to a 2.
Yep, difficulty 2.
And I'll roll that.
Let's see it.
Oh, and I rolled a 3.
So you will try to get past, and essentially it will knock you back. And this is subdual damage, but you're going to take 3 points of might damage.
Okay.
As a result, essentially, it bruises and knocks you back, kind of off balance there.
I think I kind of roll on the ground before I get back to my feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me. Kaylee, this other raptor essentially is coming around and is trying to shoot around you and maybe kind of prod you off away from the goal here. So it's kind of an attack, and it's difficulty 4 to avoid this.
Okay. So I think for skills, could I throw balancing in there?
Oh yeah, that seems really appropriate here. So difficulty 3,
and then maybe I'll do speed.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense since you already used the balancer. That's perfect. If you spend 2 points from that, we go to a difficulty of 2.
Good. Let's do that.
Okay.
And that's an 11.
That's 11. So it's trying to kind of throw you off balance, knock you around, and you're having none of it. September is on target from that. Toby, there are 2 of these raptors that are going to try and come through you. Just trying to barrel through. So let's deal with the first one. Difficulty is a 4. You can have an asset for dealing with one of them based on what Mar did.
Is this me or is this
Gibson? Sorry, Gibson.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
Toby, sorry.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat what you said about the assets?
So for one of these 2, you get an asset because of Mar's setup.
Okay. Let's see here. Climbing, running, breaking things. Is that screamer ball still around?
Yeah, it's probably still hearing the last of the buzzing of that.
All right, then I will take that ball and I will smash and break it.
Okay, I'll give you that as an asset for one of them.
All right. And then so I went. What am I at on both of them then? If it's an asset
so if you use the asset on the other one, you're down to a difficulty 3 on each of them.
All right. I'll use my tooth and nail because I can, kind of make myself long ways and protect with my hands on this side, but I can use my tail on the other side.
I'm not going to give you that one.
No?
No.
How about, I'll draw the pack.
Okay.
Excellent.
Spend those 2 points, and I will give you an asset on each of them, which will mean that this round and next round, they're focused on you. and difficulty goes to a 2 to avoid their sort of attack on you and getting past.
All right, and then I'll use another point of might from my pool.
Okay, going to do that for each of them. So 2
Oh, yeah.
points.
So
Okay.
I'm down to 12.
Difficulty becomes just a 1, so you just need a 3.
All right.
Every time he says that, I cringe.
I know, right?
Yes.
Do I just roll once or twice?
Roll twice.
Roll twice. Okay.
There's more chance of you rolling a 1 or 2.
True. All right, 13 for the first one,
Nice.
and
Oh, come
24.
on!
I've never been so lucky. I am going straight to the boats after this.
I will say that defense will actually deal damage to that raptor. Like, it comes in and you do that draw the pack, and it runs straight into the tail, and it will smack it, and it hurts, and it will stagger back from that. Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Okay, Lau, top of the next round.
Oh, can I insert something for Posh?
Sure.
She is vigilant, so I'm thinking, like, once she establishes that Lao is stable for a moment, she's going to do a quick loop around in the air, and she's looking for any of the enemy team that are hiding or that are moving with, like, deceptive body language, like they're up to something.
Okay. Let me see here. So you can roll that as difficulty 4.
Okay. Hop.
Oh man.
This is uncalled for. This is rude at this
Look at
point.
it this way: we're getting them all out this session, and then when you really pull out all the stops later, we'll crit fumble all the time.
Steven, you get an asset on your action from the aerial thing before Posh comes back down. What do you want to do?
Yeah, so I think what I'd like to do is I would like to I have a Cypher Dino Flesh.
Okay.
And I'm going to slap that on. Basically, in my pouch, I pull out this like real. It's this artificially thin covering that I use to kind of pull up over myself to make the other raptors think I'm one of them.
Ah.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
And it's camouflage and 1 armor.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that and take off for the football.
Okay. So let's have you make that speed check roll.
Okay.
To see if you can get over there and grab it and start to move.
I'll do that.
Okay.
And I rolled a 5.
Okay.
So that did not do it.
You need to get some of this electronic dice action.
Yeah. So you'll be able to move over there, but not act. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And you've got the camouflage, and you've got the asset from Posh's vision there. Let's cut to next Kaylee. You can see that maybe one of the raptors is down guarding the ball, but there's there's 5 raptors.
Actually, I have a question. Was I able to get to the ball?
Yes.
Okay. I just couldn't do anything.
Right.
Okay.
You could deal with some of these raptors. You could move down to cover Lao. You could do some other trickery or chicanery.
Sure. So they're right by the ball. So I'm not gonna go for the ball. I'm gonna look for like one of the other raptors near there. And I'm going to charge at them and try to hit them with the edge of my staff, or like the back of my staff, and try to stun them again.
All right. So let's have you. Their difficulty is is 5 because they've got speed defense of 5. But actually, you're doing up close. So actually, might defense. So 4.
4. Okay.
4. And that'll be based on your might pool.
Okay. So yeah, I'll use 2 from my might.
Okay.
To bring it to a 3, and balancing to like
Okay.
keep this thing, and that'll get me to a 2, and that's
Okay.
probably
Let's have you roll it.
sufficient. Hopefully.
Don't roll a 20.
Come on. 18.
It's not a 20.
Not a 20. But that's a solid hit. So you will smack one of the 4 raptors, one of these defenders, and that's trying to grab you, and probably send them spiraling back to probably hit one of those pits and get kind of locked up on that. So they're kind of out of commission for this round. Sound good?
Nice.
That sounds perfect.
Let's cut to we've got 2 raptors engaged with Toby. What do you want to do, Gibson?
Well, I'm playing defense, so I just want to keep them. I don't want to kill them, but I do want to keep them occupied.
Okay. You want to try and take a smack to knock one of them back?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Okay. And it'd be a might-based attack.
Okay.
Difficulty would be a 4.
4. Okay, so I'll spend a point of might.
Okay.
Which makes it 11. And let's see. Yeah, I guess since I don't want to hurt them too bad, I'll nail them with my tail.
Okay.
What else we got here? What about the Dino Companion? Yeah, I mean, can I bring in Toby's extra 2 points of damage with tail?
Well, that would be how much damage he would do with the tail.
Oh, if I
Yeah.
hit.
If you
Yeah. Okay, where am I at now?
So I think you lessened it by 1, so I think we're at a 3.
Okay. Yeah, let's try that.
Okay.
All right. So I need a 9 plus, right?
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Oh, what happened? Roll for your party drew me in and then dashed my hopes. I got a 4.
Got a 4. So you go to do that, and strike, and it will miss you. Not kind of blocking it there. Mar, what do you want to do?
So I'm going to ask of Houdini that we try to like pincer them. Since I've already got them going this way in Toby's here, I'm going to ask Houdini to try and come around this way. And we're just going to try and like box them in so that they can't rush past us to get at the ball.
Okay.
Nice.
So to kind of get him to coordinate with you, that's an interaction, difficulty 3.
Okay. Come on, Toby. Yeah, no. Definitely not no.
So what is Houdini's reaction there, Brian?
How does this creature react? So even though Mar is practiced at communicating with Houdini, in this particular case, her instructions are too complex, and Houdini just sort of stays in place, staring at her with an expectant look on his face.
And so what does Mar do then? Houdini isn't helping, but what does Mar do?
Sort of makes a bah gesture and rushes around to at least cover one of the sides. And again, she's just going to try and like keep shoving them in. Keep them engaged with Toby, basically.
Okay.
She's not very strong, so I will burn Mike because she's going to need it.
Yep. Difficulty 4.
So that will get me to a 4. And let's see how this goes. Yep. Nope. The dice have turned.
Sure.
Thank
have.
you, roll for your party. So you're not getting them pegged in at all, and you're hoping to kind of get an asset to do that. So this raptor is going to try and get past you. Essentially, it's going to try and do a speed move past you. The difficulty is 4 to stop it.
Okay. Did it go? Come on.
12. So that is exactly what you needed. So it isn't pretty, but you get in its way. The other one is still focused on you, Toby, slash Gibson, because of that ability. So it's actually going to try and smack at Toby.
That's a foolish move.
Difficulty 4.
All right.
And actually, you don't even need to roll because your armor will bounce this raptor's attack.
Oh, that's right. My armor too. All right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Essentially, this raptor, because you had its attention on this round, it had to attack you, and it'll bounce off your armor. It'll screech back, and its driver is like, "No, we need to get to the goal." Trying to drive it on.
Excellent.
The one that would have attacked Kaylee got knocked back. Let's see. I think Lau, one of these is going to try and get at you, but he's probably going to have a hard time. You're going to have an asset for your camouflage. So it'd be difficulty 4 to stop him from getting you away from the ball.
So difficulty 4, is that with the asset?
Then asset takes it to a 3.
3. And I'm going to spend the asset from Posh, who's been watching the movement of these raptors.
Okay.
And I'm going to do an intellect perception test to make the raptor think I'm on his team.
Okay.
Basically. So I think it was a 4. The camouflage makes it a 3. The asset from Posh makes it a 2.
Okay. That seems great.
Yeah. And can I use perception to make it a 1?
Yeah.
Awesome.
If you spend from your intellect pool, you could take it to a 0 and not have to roll.
I'm not going to spend from intellect pools. My pools are getting low.
Come on.
I know.
What are the chances you're going to roll a 1 or a 2?
I got a 13.
Okay. So it actually will kind of rear back. The rider kind of knows that you're a foreign raptor, but this one doesn't. And you've got an opening. You could grab this ball and try and rush down the field.
Yeah.
Okay. I think to do that, you want to try and do that, that's going to be a difficulty 5 speed test.
Okay. So I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to grab the ball.
Okay.
And I would like to, number 1, just run past this one raptor and rider that are right here.
Okay.
And then once I get as far as I think I can, I whistle at Posh and toss the ball up to Posh.
Oh, that's dirty.
So that Posh probably can't carry it very far, but will at least fling it further down.
Okay. So difficulty 5 speed test to get this into your goal.
Okay.
What do you have for assets here?
let's see. I'm gonna do speed
Okay.
to make it a 4.
Yeah, spend those points.
That's right. And I think this probably isn't something that we've tried before, so I'm going to do experiment as the skill.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, to make it a
Thr-
3.
3.
And I don't think I have anything else. So I'll roll on a 3.
Okay. You actually get the kinesec. I hate to say it,
Oh.
but that's an asset, so that's
Okay.
a 2.
Okay, so it's a 2. And I got a 9 or a 6. I got a 9.
9. So again, not pretty. But you will fling it, and who does Posh throw it to that catches it in the end zone? Is it Gibson? Is it Mar? Is it Toby? Is it Houdini?
I think it's Houdini because he's hanging back and he's not like super sure what to do. Also, as she is approaching, because like basically she's not subtle. She lets out her victory cry as she is coming inwards, so the other group knows she's coming.
Does that cry? They all look at it. The ball goes flying. Houdini's just been kind of staying there. I imagine there's a slow motion Air Bud moment as Houdini leaps up to catch the ball and will come down, and the crowd will go wild. This raptor that's right by you, Kaylee, that this rider is letting out this stream of curses, just trying to get up out of the pit. The 2 raptors that are by you, the riders look angry, but they will pull their mounts back, and they will get them clear, and you guys will step into a victory celebration. You'll be victorious in this moment. You've learned a lot about your capabilities.
True.
In this session. We're going to start with sort of a prologue next time of going to the pavilion, which is going to set up your mission. I'm going to give everybody an XP for your discoveries tonight, the things that you learned about your own selves and about these other teams.
All right. Or flush.
Well, flush is a relative word. all those 20s, that was insane.
Using up all our good luck in one run.
Yeah. I guess that's the way I should look at it, is how the mighty will be brought down. So we ran a little bit over time. So thank you guys. I'll check in at the start of the session with everybody next time. I don't want to do Roses and Thorns because we're at that time thing. But we'll check at the beginning. If anybody has any rules questions or anything you want to send me during the week or want to check on stuff, we kind of abbreviated a few things tonight. Feel free to send me an email, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
Thank you much. Stop the broadcast.